Cash-a-maniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Welcome to Geo Gearheads. This is episode 436. It's one of my favorite shows. It's a randomized show. But before we get into that, let me tell you that Geo Gearheads is a weekly show about geocaching and geolocation games. I am Chris of the Northwest, along with our host, yes, the illuminated one, Daryl W4.
You have to be illuminated to do any kind of video.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise, it's just black screens, and that's not very interesting.
Maybe you should be the elected one.
No. No one should elect me for anything. But we've got an interesting show tonight because it's almost entirely about GPS and a little bit of the other GNSS services, but we're not going to be talking too much, though we are going to talk a little bit about the pandemic stuff, because guess what? Next week, that's what we're going to talk about.
Wait, what's this pandemic thing? This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting taking a step back and looking at the effects that it's had, and we don't even know what a lot of those effects are. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing next week.
Exactly. So next week we're going to have a whole show on on how the pandemic has affected geocaching and the 20th anniversary celebration. So join us at that time with Rock Chalk from Geocaching HQ, and let us know how this pandemic has affected your geocaching experience, be it events, be it being able to go out. You just simply email geogearheads@cacheamaniacs.com, and you need to do that by May 12th, and let us know your geocaching.com name and how the impact has been for you and how it may continue to affect you. We might even have someone special something special to one random person who contributes to that show. So remember, those emails need to be in by May 12th to geogearheads@cacheamaniacs.com with your geocaching.com name and what impact the COVID-19 pandemic has had on your geocaching experience.
Yeah, and I've not been out for a very long time, but I did go out for Big Blue Switch Day.
Hooray!
That said, I didn't go out specifically for the cache on Big Blue Switch Day. I went out and grabbed it on the way for getting some supplies. So,
well, I saw Big Blue Switch Day, okay, yeah. Well, I guess, I'm not doing anything this year. And a friend group texted a couple of us, and hey, I went out and did, and I just happened to have lunch with Wits End that day. I had to go up to Seattle and saw him. And he goes, there's a cache just a block over from here. Well, if it's that close, I got to get it. So I did.
Nice. So you got your souvenir already, even though you have till the end of the year.
I haven't logged it yet.
Oh,
but
well, fine. Be that way.
I know. I need to sit down there. Was, it was in a kind of a populous location. I mean, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I don't know how it would have been able to sneak in there. And even so, the one, it's near, like in a courtyard of an apartment building. And as I'm signing it, one of the residents come by and goes, "Hey, is that one of those geocache things?" Yeah, it is. Oh, that's why people have been stopping there. Okay. And then walked out.
Wow. Sometimes I think that's only in Seattle that you're going to get that kind of reaction.
I don't know. Now, GSM times 2 says you have until December 31st to get it. So no hurry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no rush, but it was Big Blue Switch Day. I had to find a cache on Big Blue Switch Day. I always find a cache on Big Blue Switch Day.
And you notice Daryl and I both wore blue today to celebrate that.
Well, and I don't know if anyone else has actually taken a look, but I just finally looked now, And I now have my longest slump of 62 consecutive days during the pandemic.
I think I hit 64. And Daryl, I have to hang my head in shame. Okay, I'm done now. That's not my longest slump.
Oh.
When I bought the house, that was my longest slump.
Yeah, this is now my longest slump, and I was very anxious to not do the longest idle streak bigger than the 48 days, I think it was, beforehand. So, but I was kind of surprised at the first article that we're going to talk about, because we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Big Blue Switch Day. But according to this article in GPS World, GPS is only 25 years of operation.
Oh, such a youngster. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, well, it's like, okay, so selective availability was only enacted for 5 years.
Yeah,
I guess so. But the Global Positioning System, which is the GPS, that's the system that is run by the U.S. Air Force.
the constellation of satellites.
Correct. Yes. So, GPS is specifically this system, even though it's kind of used like Kleenex is. It's, we're talking about the GPS system. And it was only, it's marked its 25th year, but it was only April 27th. So Big Blue Switch Day was like just after they celebrated 5 years of operation. So April 27th, 1995 is when the system reached the full operational capacity. So yeah, we've talked about it before on the show that it's been, a system in development for years and launches from, I believe it was 1965 to start the GPS system.
Yes, oh man, I knew what it was, and Limax is never going to forgive me.
Of course not, but hopefully he's
Timation.
Yeah, wait, maybe
Time and navigation is what the original system was based on.
Yeah. So in any case, this is 25 years of GPS being fully functional and operational. So that's very, very cool.
And as MC3 Cat says, thank you, President Clinton. It's the only good thing to come out of the Clinton era.
But it's become an integral public utility now, and there's a lot of stuff that won't work. And one of the things they mentioned was, the ATMs, and we've actually had that get interrupted by glitches in the GPS system. And it's not as if the ATMs actually rely on the GPS for positioning data. They're just using it for a really accurate clock.
Yes. I have my brother-in-law, sorry, I couldn't remember the relation, who worked a bit with the ATMs and how they communicate back to the bank. And, when you think about it, it could be, let's say your bank is in Detroit, Daryl, and you're here in Seattle getting money out of an ATM. There's a communication that goes back to Detroit and says, does he have $20? Yes, he has $20. Okay, he gets $20 out. By the way, debit $20 out of his account. And that all happens in a blink of an eye over modem lines originally.
Yeah.
And the real problem is timing. How do they know when the request was sent and when should it be authenticated? Because, if there's a delay there, it's like, wait, did that come within a reasonable amount of time? Yes or no? And they started using GPS for that clock because that's what GPS was designed for.
Yeah, definitely.
Clock around the world.
It's amazing at how accurate it is and how widespread it is. GSM Times 2 said that GPS was open to commercial airlines in response to Russia shooting down a jet over their airspace.
I didn't know that.
I seem to remember something about that, and Ryan said that he listened to a great podcast on that. Which
pass along the name of that podcast. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I was going to just say, send us that podcast. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that and actually listening to it, but for the life of me, I can't remember what that was. But there are a couple of audiobooks that I had picked up on GPS that had some great information. So it could have been in one of those as well. And, we'll probably have to do something on that at some point in the not so distant future as well.
So even though the GPS is owned by the U.S. government, in this case, the U.S. Space Force operates it, it's a global utility available to everyone, everywhere on Earth. How cool is that?
It is awesome. And can you imagine living without it at this point?
No. And this is one of the government utilities that actually works. It's free. Am I being a little too political tonight? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't get the impression that you're going to keep those views, family friendly tonight.
Yeah. Okay. It's free for everyone to use anywhere in the world. So it provides the highest accuracy, positioning, and timing data. Is that true? Is it still the most accurate?
I'm not sure. I don't think that any of the newer systems have improved on the accuracy. If you consider that GPS 3 has improved the accuracy of the timing.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it has. But I'm not 100% on that. So, again, something we'll have to take a look at. I'm on a boat says that, man, Chris is on a roll bashing the government tonight. Right now, that seems to be everyone's favorite pastime.
Well, I mean, I've got plenty of time at home. What else am I supposed to do? Actually, I'm typically a fan. It's just, kind of funny.
So you blow air around?
Yeah.
Kind of like politicians, but it's not hot?
All my fans are electric.
Anyway, we did mention that we are going to talk about the geocaching 20th anniversary on this show. We're going to talk about it more next week, of course. But Geocaching HQ did announce that the COVID-19 uncertainty has postponed the 20th anniversary celebration to 2021. And those who pre-ordered the event merchandise will be receiving refunds. Any previous... I'm sorry?
I said that's nice.
Yeah.
Rather than just delaying it a year, you get refunds.
Yeah. Well, and some people were kind of upset about that they'd rather have seen an option to ship it, but I'm not sure that they've got the merchandise all processed yet either.
Yeah, exactly. Because this started in China right around the New Year, and everything shuts down in China over Chinese New Year. They just call it New Year. We call it Chinese New Year. Is that a government thing? I don't think so. I'm still okay. And so things shut down there anyway, and this added to it. So geocoin shipments are late, and most of the swag is more than likely going to come from China.
Yeah, so there might be some issues there, and we've heard from other mega events that they've had similar issues with delivery on stuff. So even though a lot of these folks have planned wisely, this is not something that was expected or could be really handled. So unfortunately, even the geocaching megas and gigas and not are likely to have some issues with merchandise actually being delivered. So we'll see how that pans out. And if they did get the merchandise ahead of time, now they're kind of in a difficult spot. But getting back to this, any previous reservations for the Geocaching HQ Visitor Center the week before and after the 20th anniversary celebrations are canceled. Free tickets for the Visitor Center will also be available on first come, first served basis on the event website in January of 2021. And just keep your will attend on that and you'll be able to check that out. So it's going to be Saturday, August 21st, 2021, again in the Seattle Center in Washington. Well, Seattle, Washington.
That's right.
Which I assume people would have understood from, Seattle Center.
The Seattle Center in Seattle.
No, I would be surprised that
Seattle.
I was going to say, I would be surprised that doesn't actually work that way. Because, every so often you'll run into that airport that's not in the
Yes.
right city. Like, Detroit Metro Airport is nowhere near Detroit.
That's true. Well, SeaTac Airport, Seattle Tacoma is halfway between the two.
Right.
And apparently they wanting to drop the Tacoma from that and just call it the Seattle Airport.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's got to make you mad.
So, you can't miss Seattle Center. It's where the Space Needle is. As you're driving around town, you're going to see that thing. Just aim for it. You'll get there.
I'm thinking you could always launch yourself Angry Bird style.
Ooh. Huh.
Save on those Uber rides.
There you go. The landing is the hard part to stick.
Yeah.
Hey, Geo Woodstock, that's GC 86 Victor Delta Foxtrot in Abbotsford, British Columbia, is also postponed and now will be held. Daryl, this is an important date. It's going to be held August 28th, 2021. So plan for a week of wonderful celebrations in the Northwest. You know why August 28th is a special day?
That seems to be something that sticks in my mind. I'm guessing your anniversary.
Nope. It's my parents' anniversary.
Oh, okay, fine.
I was born on their first anniversary.
Oh, well, wow. Okay. Well, isn't your anniversary sometime around then? May? Oh, wow. I'm totally off. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's when it is. You want me to go ahead?
No. Trust me. I believe you. I'm getting all my dates mixed up, which happens to be quite a bit lately.
Oh, so it was very nice for Geo Woodstock to throw this party for my birthday. I'm going to claim it my personal birthday party. You're all welcome.
Well, and I'm assuming they're going to have a cake and bring you up on stage so that everyone can sing, for You're a Jolly Good Fellow.
Give me gifts.
Oh, of course. We'll move on, though, to news from Mac Rumors that the Google Podcast app is now available for iOS.
No.
So for those who are in the Google ecosystem but still use an iPhone, like someone I know who's also on this podcast, you can actually download that, check that out, and it is very cool from what I've heard. I'm not in the Google Assistant universe, so I haven't been able to try it, but it is able to sync your position and stuff on the podcast and play that back on your Google Homes.
Nice. So you could start it in one place and pick it up on another.
Correct. I don't know that actually works, but that's what I've been told it can do.
Wunderbar. I must have it. I must have it now.
Yes. Yeah. Go and check it out and download it. But one of the interesting things is they're also bringing an overhauled design to the iOS app that makes it easier to find podcasts and create lists of favorite podcasts. So it's supposed to be better now than it was on Android. And hopefully that's going to come up with the or sync up with the Android stuff soon. But GSM times 2 said that I need to sync with the GPS system to track my dates and times. I don't think that's going to help because it's not very good at remembering the time. It's only there for like a second or two.
Interesting. Well, we have more news.
More.
How much would you pay for this podcast?
Nothing.
Oh, this comes from GPS World. Contingency Ops GPS-3 SV02 to receive additional operational acceptance from the United States Space Force. The Space and Missile Systems Center, say that 10 times fast, achieved a major milestone, GPS milestone, on March 27th with the Contingency Operation Program, or COPS. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. And GPS-3 Space Vehicle number 2, that's GPS SV02, both of which received U.S. Space Force operational acceptance approval. The COPS program is an upgrade to the current GPS operational control system. And I lost my space. And operationally upgrade to the current and operation, command and control. Right. They can control the GPS-3 satellites. That's the upgrade they got.
Yeah. So basically, as I understand it, this is a new control system for the Air Force to use to actually control the constellation.
Yeah. There you go. And that was said so much better than I was trying to read it and scroll at the same time. Bad move.
Yeah, that never works so well. But the good news is it is successfully been turned up on February 20th, I believe, is what the article had said.
Yes.
Oh, no. It achieved its milestone on March 27th. So it's actually functional as of March 27th. And it had completed its testing.
That's right. So the first GPS-3 satellite was launched December 3rd, 2018. And so it's already up there and made available for use by military and civilian users. But do we have the hardware to accept the new GPS signals yet, Daryl?
In most cases, we do not. But that doesn't mean we won't get the benefit of having the new GPS-3 satellites. And it will be a while before we would actually be able to make use of the new signals, because we need more of those GPS-3s up there to guarantee that we're getting those extras. Class M? Is that what it's called? Level M? Whatever.
That's the next article.
M code, yeah. So on the next article is final steps underway to operationalize the new GPS M code signal. So that article talks about these new improved signals, which does require a different radio than most GPSRs have. The final step to fully enable the ultra-secure jam-resistant military code, M code, signal on GPS is now underway. COPS-enabled control of the GPS constellation, now containing 21 M code capable satellites, including Lockheed Martin's first 2 GPS-3 satellites, until the next OCX ground control system is delivered. Actually, you know what? This is not the one that I was thinking of, because this is the military version. This is not the improved radio signal for civilian use. So, boo, we messed that up. But that is good news, because now there's better, more accurate, jam-free. I shouldn't say jam-free, but more resistant to outside influence signals for the military to use.
So is it more of a marmalade than a jam?
Yeah, no. Chris asks if Garmin will be putting out GPS-3 enabled units down the road. And of course they will. We're going to see that most likely in the cell phones first, because they change faster. You know, they're running through the chipsets a lot more rapidly than you do with a handheld unit. And for the GPS handheld units, the outdoor stuff, they go through, I don't want to say more testing, but it just takes them a little longer to certify those chips and design the hardware. So yes, you will see it, just not right away.
Yeah.
Next article up is GPS-3 Magellan starts signal transmission. So the first of these GPS-3 satellites, Vespucci. You think I got that right?
Yeah, I didn't know they had named them that way.
Yeah, they're named after
Explorer.
Yeah, well, not explorers, or were they? Yeah. No, I guess they are explorers.
Yeah, Amerigo Vespucci.
Yeah. I was thinking that was astronomers, early astronomers. But the first satellite was launched back in December, started transmissions in January, and was actually healthy that month. So Magellan was launched on August 22nd of 2019. And actually, did I say December of 2018, or did I just say December?
You just said December, but that's
okay. So yeah, well, it was up for a year before it started transmitting.
Exactly. Before it was deemed healthy enough to.
Right.
We went through all the tests.
Yep. So the next one went up on August 22nd of 2019 on a Delta IV rocket from Cape Canaveral. And Magellan is identified as SVN 75 or GPS 75, which we talked about that launch, I remember. Mm-hmm. It has it started with its pseudo random noise code generator. And we got a whole bunch of numbers in here and protocols that we're not going to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's transmission messages started. A transmission of navigation messages. Blah. I'm having problems with that one.
It's not easy to read.
Started at 1900 GPST, which I'm assuming is GPS time.
GPS standard time?
I'm assuming so. With GPS 75 marked healthy. Or sorry, no, unhealthy. Ooh, that's interesting. I got all excited when I first noticed this because I thought that it was healthy. Wow.
GPST stands for Georgia Public Safety Training, obviously.
Oh, obviously. Okay. GSM times 2 that says that cell phone users are going to love saying use a cell phone, not a GPS for accurate coordinates. Yeah, but you know what? You still got to use it right.
GPST is GPS time. Global Positioning System Tester as well.
Oh, interesting.
I had to go look it up. I didn't know what that meant.
All right, so we heard about the first two, the GPS 3 satellites, and we know that there's a third one that's going to launch, but you want to tell us what happened with that one now?
Los Angeles Air Force Base, SMC reschedules GPS 3, number 3 launch. Got to be careful there because you got 2 3s right next to each other. Originally scheduled for late April, the launch is now projected for no earlier than June 30th, pending a re-evaluation in May. The GPS 3-3 brings the modernized GPS 3 satellite to the operational GPS mission, and the team remains ready to execute. GPS 3 will bring 3 times better accuracy and up to 8 times improved anti-jamming capability than its predecessor.
Now, the article did go on with a lot more information, but basically what they're saying in the article is that they don't feel the need to rush this launch. You know, they're going to sit on it for a little while because everything else is healthy and they don't think they're going to need it as quickly. So that's kind of interesting, but kind of depressing all at the same time.
Daryl, are you telling me they're not Russian?
No, okay. They're not Russian. But we also have other news about the older satellites, and that's the disposal of the last of the 2A block satellites after 26 years in operation. So satellite vehicle number 34 was disposed of, or started the disposal, I should say, on April 13th. So they're getting rid of 34 at the end of a 26.5 year life, which outlived its 7.5 year design life by 19 years.
Hey, Daryl, can I bring something up?
You may.
You know, I was a little anti-government to start with, but when you look at how the government has designed a GPS satellite to go 3, almost 4 times as long as it was designed to, they've done something right.
They really do an amazing job with this hardware, you know, as far as the design life. And part of it is you can't do the satellites as quickly or as loose in the engineering as what we buy in the consumer grade.
Right.
And just the launch is quite an ordeal for these things. So there you go.
MC3 Cats wants to know, and they just moved. There it is. How many GPS 3 satellites will they be launching?
Well, actually, it's how many 3-3s, and there's only going to be one 3-3.
There's only going to be one 3-3, right?
Yeah.
So that 3-1, 3-2 are up there. 3-3 is getting ready to launch.
Right. And then 3-4.
Right. But a full constellation is 26 satellites, 24 plus 2 live spares, right?
I think it's 23 plus live spares, but I can't remember. But they're not going to have all GPS 3 satellites at any one time. They have a variety of blocks concurrently. And I'm looking that up because we did actually have an article about that a while ago.
Well, while you're looking that up, just finding our way says, too bad they can't bring that bird back, referring to the GPS 2A satellite in 26 and a half years after it was launched. It would make a special geocache container. Yeah,
All
it's about the size of a Suburban. So that would be
according to the Wikipedia article, there are going to be 10 GPS 3 satellites, and they were previously known as GPS 3A satellites.
Since there's no letters after it, they don't have to designate it as A, right? Not yet.
Yeah, I think they actually do. And there was supposed to be a GPS 3F, I think, already in development. But I don't know that it was F.
Oh, it's
but
probably
I know that it was
like the iPhones
yeah,
for speed.
yeah, exactly. No, they had the two Fs, which was the last version of the Block 2s.
Mhm.
Well, let's move.
GS.
No.
No.
Let's move on to the next one, which is that testing has been suspended on the Galileo Batch 3 satellites. So, in response to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, the test campaign for the first 2 satellites of Galileo's Batch 3 has been suspended. The suspension was based on the medical advice for social distancing. Too high a concentration of people is needed on site if tests were to continue, according to the ESA, and that's the European Space Agency.
So if they launch that up into space, that's serious social distancing.
Oh, I would not want to be one of those techs doing the testing if you have to
Hold on
launch
tight.
into space to find it. Oh, wow.
Now, yeah. It's the trip back that's hard.
I don't know. It's the breathing that worries me, and maybe the freezing to death like instantly.
If you work fast, you'll keep your temperature up, and you'll be fine. I've seen it on movies.
Yes, but there's no oxygen to sustain the breathing to keep you working. Yeah, anyway, all right. I'm going to make you read this next one.
Oh, thank you, Daryl. I love you too. You sent me this earlier, and I thought, boy, this could be fraught with problems. But Engadget says that iOS 13.5 can automatically share your medical ID in an emergency call. Apple is making it easier for iPhone and Apple Watch owners to share their medical information with 911 call centers during an emergency. On Wednesday, the company said iOS 13.5, which will start rolling out over the next couple of weeks, will allow you to set up your phone or smartwatch to share any information you have saved on in your medical ID automatically. That's where I thought the problem was. If you're not familiar with medical ID, it's a feature within Apple's Health app. You can edit it to include information like your blood type, any existing medical conditions you may have, emergency contacts, as well as any food or medical allergies. With the new functionality, your Apple device will use your location to determine if you're in an area with support for enhanced emergency data or E911 services. Then the system will share your medical ID securely. Whether you decide to include your medical ID, it's up to you, and it's encrypted on your device. So it will work in conjunction with Apple Watch Series 4 and Series 5 fall detection tech. So if you don't know, Apple Watch 4s and 5s will send out an alert if you fall. So,
and you do have the ability to pause it.
Right. Like, if you run it, if you're using a hammer all day long or something, and you're running on that jackhammer and it's just calling out to 911,
I've actually talked with a couple of people who have done the testing on it just because they didn't believe that this was actually going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fall into the bed, it doesn't tend to activate. If you actually trip and fall, then it does. So one of them actually had fallen down the stairs.
Oh.
And, just mostly hurt their pride, but they said it actually worked and they had to shut it off.
Was it going to call 911?
Yeah. It gives you like 5 seconds to cancel. It makes a noise and tells you.
Can you set it to call someone else?
I think it notifies your emergency contact and 911.
Okay.
But I don't remember for sure. But I'm on a boat, or just on a boat, sorry. Said I punched something the other day, and the watch asked him if he needed help for a fall. So for him, it didn't work so well.
I'm glad he said punch something and not someone.
Yeah.
So
anyway, but yeah, this is kind of interesting, but at the same time, kind of infuriating because E911 is not available in enough locations.
Not yet, but it's starting to roll out. I like the abilities of E911, but
well, especially for the GPS data.
Yes.
And this has been an ongoing problem. And we just had this conversation at work a few days ago. Maybe it was a few weeks ago, because of questions about E911 service in certain areas. And there are a number of areas, and I'm not talking just in the US, but there's a number of areas where they simply don't have the resources to roll out E911. And it's like, we think of it as being so simple to, okay, you're getting this GPS information, just send it through. But okay,
it's fine.
How are they going to get that to the fire department or to the ambulance driver? And a lot of these guys are lowest bidders. They don't even have navigation in the trucks. Grrr. So that was the more frustrating part of that article to me. But I like that they can send some of that information, because think about if there were actually a medical emergency, you can send things like your allergy information, the medicines that you're on, to the first responders. So they have it there before they're even getting out of the truck. That is the concept behind this.
And that is cool.
And I think that could really save some lives. Oh, and you know what? There's an article I didn't put in here, but kind of goes dovetails with this. There was a woman, and she was not in the US, but I can't remember where she was, who went into the doctor complaining of issues that seemed,
when I do this.
Well, it seemed kind of like, oh, hey, hang on. GSM times 2 said, and they will still ask you for that information. And that's true. They should still ask you for that information, because you might have forgotten to update that medical card. You might have just not had a chance to do so. And it could be that you forgot to take it that day. Not to mention, what happens if you have the wrong phone that day? Right. Most of us aren't going to do that, but it does happen. So yes, they should be asking, because for something that important, you have to double check. Anyway, so this woman had gone into the doctor with symptoms of a heart attack, I believe it was. They hooked her up to the 12 lead EKG, and she passed. So they continued to look for what is causing her problems, and she mentioned the Apple Watch. And they looked into the Apple Watch and found that she was having little heart attacks or something like that. But when they happened to test her with the EKG, they didn't have that. She wasn't having one, so she didn't show up. So it was like the Apple Watch, because it's always with you, can provide that extra bit of information if the doctors are willing to look at it.
Yeah.
So
and GSM times 2 says it will be helpful for unconscious people.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it's good information, that they'll be able to use, they'll be able to prepare, but they always have to check. And so typically in the protocols are, you always check with the patients just to make sure that that's the right name, even, because, well, that's actually happened.
Well, and Daryl, the same thing happens when I call my cable company and they ask you to punch in your account number on the keypad, and the first thing the person on the phone says, "Can I have your account number?" I said, "I already gave it to the computer. You should be able to get it." "I'm sorry, we don't see that." Then why did I put it in?
See, and this is the E911 problem that I was talking about.
So,
you know, I'm not going to go into it with the cable companies.
you know, the government could do the same. Oh, I'm not supposed to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, you want new levels of incompetence?
Oh, I'm ornery tonight. I know I'm not normally ornery.
Or at least not this much.
Yeah.
Well, if you're this bad, maybe we should just let you go, though. All right. But tomorrow night, Friday, is going to be our patron game night number 4. So if you're a patron, make sure to watch your feed. We're going to have that link to join us in the StreamYard room to actually play. And the reason that you want to join us in the StreamYard room rather than in the YouTube feed is the lag is terrible and you can't actually play. I was doing some tests this weekend, Chris. At best, I got it down to 3-second delays, which I'm thinking, okay, 3 seconds might not be so bad. But we've tried playing Jack that way.
Mm-hmm.
The questions were over by the time we were answering in some cases.
Daryl, you can't play Jack.
No, I can't. So yeah, you have to be in something that's lower latency than the actual stream. So make sure to join us in the StreamYard stream if you want to play. And you'll need 2 devices really to play. Hopefully you have a computer or iPad to actually join the StreamYard room. And then you can use your phone or a tablet to join. And you know what? If you've got a significant other that wants to join in, have them come along, because we don't know how many people are going to show up, but we might have enough that everyone can play.
Well, you could have everyone in your house get on one stream and play.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just have one StreamYard open, and then you can join from, 2, 3 phones, whatever you've got.
Exactly. You can have a huge number of phones, but just one stream company. And StreamYard is limited to 10 people at a time.
It is, and the games are usually limited to 10 people or to 8 people or less. But the interesting thing with that is most of them will have an audience where you actually get to participate, even though you don't get to actually play. So you get to vote on the results as well. But On a Boat says he's planning on making the last few game nights have been great. And GSM times 2 wonders what time it is. It's going to be 6 p.m. for you in the West Coast, Pacific Daylight Time, or 9 p.m. on the East Coast. So do the math to check that out. But you'll get the notifications from Patreon. Just make sure that you've got those set up.
Yes, please do. Now, you remember very beginning of the episode, we told you what we're going to be doing next week. Guess what? We're still doing it. Next week is the pandemic effect with Rock Chalk. So remember to email us by May 12th to be entered into that drawing. There may be something special going out. And then May 21st, that's a 2 and a 1. Don't add them together because that messes things up. We're going to be doing Earth caches with this new up and coming geocacher called Land Monkey.
All right. So check the Cachemaniacs website at cachemaniacs.com for more on the Geo Gearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cachemaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron to the link on the website to support the Cachemaniacs shows. Geo Gearheads is produced by Chris Sofener and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2020 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with the Cachemaniacs.